Hi, welcome back. Today let's learn how to upload and download files from SharePoint using Excel VBA. First, let us see how to upload file in SharePoint. So this can be done in two steps. So the first step is to create a button. So this button will upload the file to SharePoint. And second step is to write a script that will upload file in SharePoint. Now let us look into an example. So here I have created a button called upload file. When I right click on this button and click on assign macro, I have already assigned a macro called upload to this button. So let's look into the code. So in the code, initially I have set screen updating to false and I have stored my current workbook's name in a variable called current file. Once that is done, let us open our workbook that needs to be uploaded in the SharePoint. So here I created a sample file called upload file in a folder called upload in my current desktop. So to fetch the current desktop path, I have used a function called getDesktop. So getDesktop function basically fetches the desktop path with the help of shell. So once we open our file, let us store that file's name in a variable called upload file. So once that is done, let us set Windows state to Excel minimized and activate our upload file. After we activate our upload file, I'm calling a sub called save file with an input argument upload file. So in save file, initially I have set display alerts to false and I am saving the file with another name and with SharePoint's path. So here, this is my SharePoint path and this is my file name. So when I call this activate workbook.save as with the file name as input, this will save our current file in the SharePoint. So once it saves our file, let us have a time interval of 5 seconds so that it will upload the file properly. So once the file is uploaded, let us close that file and set display alerts to true. Once this is done, let us send a message called uploaded the file. Now let's see how this exactly works. So when I click on this button, file will be opened directly in the background and it is starting to upload the file in the SharePoint. So once the file is uploaded, we'll get a message called uploaded the file. Now let's see if the file is uploaded in the SharePoint. So if we see here, the file is uploaded in the SharePoint. Now let us see how to download a file from SharePoint. Downloading a file is as simple as uploading a file. The first step is to create a button. This button will help us start the process. And next is to write a VBA script. This script will help us download the file from desired path of the SharePoint. Let's look into an example. Here, I have created a button called download file. If I right click on this button and click on assign macro, I have already assigned a macro called download file to this button. Let's look into the code. So initially I have set screen updating to false and I stored our current workbook name in a variable called current file. Once that is done, I have stored the file's path, that is SharePoint link of that particular file which we are planning to download. So I have stored that link in a variable called URL. So let's initially open that URL in our web browser with the help of workbooks.open and the file path. So this basically opens the file in the browser. Once that opens the file, let's just close it and save the file without any changes. So this basically helps us know if the file is corrupted or not. If it is corrupted, then we will get an error message. So once this is done, let us call a function called download file from web. So this function takes two input arguments. One is save path and another one is URL of the file. So in save path, we should input the path where we are planning to download the file. And URL is the URL of our file. So here, for the save path, I have created a folder called download in my local desktop. And this particular folder doesn't have any file. And in the file URL, we should replace strings that is present after the question mark in the file link. And we should replace it with download equal to 1. So this will help us download the file. So let us input save path and URL to the function called download file from web. Basically, this download file from web will call another function called URL download to file. This particular function is declared initially with the help of a library called URL MON. So once the file is downloaded, we'll display a message called downloaded the file. So now let's look into the process. When I click on this button, the process starts in the background. So once the file is downloaded, this message is displayed. If we see the downloaded file is opened, let's check the folder. So if we look into the folder, we have downloaded the file. See the advantages and disadvantages of each process. The advantages of uploading file in SharePoint. So the first advantage is we can upload the file automatically in between a process, and it is time saving. And the disadvantage is that the SharePoint path should be fixed. So when we are writing the VBA script, we are inputting the SharePoint path. So if the SharePoint path changes, then the code might not work. So we should update the SharePoint path each and every time it is changed. Similarly, the advantages of downloading a file is we can download the file automatically in between a process, and it is time saving. And the same disadvantage is the SharePoint path should be fixed. This was helpful, and now you know how to upload and download a file in SharePoint. Thank you.